So that's an experience that if we refer to Forbes, that's successful experience by involving everybody, by bringing in people to be part of that innovation. So the cycle of innovation continue also as referred to Forbes. Number 7, I choose 1, 3, and 7, so I jump to 7 now. The digital is more than customer focus. We all talk about customer focus, but internally, how are we internalize that? How are we reacting to that? There is the cycle of growth. Companies are growing. They have to continue innovate and go back and innovate and go back and innovate. And companies who are acquiring companies or have organic growth, they are absolutely have no choice but to continue to innovate. And then they need to create an ecosystem around them that helps them to grow. And the more they grow, the more they require more ecosystem. Then I want to talk a little bit again, like we did in Emirates Bank. I got engaged with Ayman, my colleague, and Arif and other people in the team on working with Danata. Danata is part of Emirates Group, and for 2 years we were involved with them trying to provide them solution that ended up part of their digital transformation. As we work with them, have realized that Danata is growing. They're acquiring companies, not in Dubai, across all the world. And then the demand, in the 2 years we started that journey till the time we closed the business, it continued to change and to grow. And we realized that internally themselves, they are accepting to widen their ecosystem and bring people to help them and help us. And I learned a lot also that we as Avaya, I cannot do the job they asked me to do alone. Then during my presentation, we'll take you through the second part of it. So Danata accepted, or they innovated themselves and took the liberty, and they were not shy, not embarrassed to go and invite people to help them. They created their innovation lab, similar to what Ali said, to keep them innovating. So I'd like to invite to the stage Adam Will, the Senior IT Head of Danata, to share with us his experience. Jill? How about you and I move to the other side a little bit? So this is the other side time now. Please, thank you. So, Adam, we work with your team, we work with you over the years to understand what you do. So if you give us some idea about, your role, how you're coping up with this changing, with the demand, with the growth.
Yeah, so my role within Danata Travel is, as you alluded to, is very varied. We have a large number of companies in all different stages in their digital transformation from when we've acquired them into the wider group. Some of them are very advanced, some of them need some help. So I think you've used a few words this morning that really describe how we see how we move all of those businesses forward. So I think ecosystem was a word that you mentioned, and creating a platform that allows us to transform those businesses and innovate those businesses as we go into the future. And I think working with Avaya, that's really helped us understand how those businesses operate now and how we can move them forward. So taking the best of breed from some of those businesses and applying what we've learned in those areas to some of the other ones. So
can you tell the audience here, how as you growing, how it's choosing your ecosystem partner?
So for me, there's no one partner. Okay. We need several different people. So we have, from the IT side, we have obviously our own development team. But that development team is they can't build a phone system. So that's where we need Avaya to come in and help us. Equally, we need a partner on calls, on how we're going to route all the calls globally. So, and also then host all of those systems. So there's a series of partners that we use to build all this together as part of that overall platform. So really getting away from the idea, and I think it was mentioned earlier, about having one big system It becomes a platform of smaller systems that then allows you to adapt them and change them very quickly to the varying business needs that we have in the group.
So as you keep acquiring companies around the world and try to merge them into the big Danata group, the big Emirates group, how the IT coping with that, and how your user able to consume the technology you're acquiring too?
It comes back to keeping it small. So some of our businesses have literally been entrepreneurial startup businesses that can adapt very quickly. So I think you listen to a lot of people who talk about Google are worried about the latest Google, the small startup around the corner that's suddenly going to come in and take them by surprise. We're the same. So we try to keep our businesses small and on that platform that allows them to make changes as they need, but at the same time as part of a larger sharing collaborative group. And I think as you said earlier, the ecosystem really describes that platform that allows us to make changes in there to the different businesses.
What do you advise our customers based on the experience that you're working for a company who's growing too fast and a very fast pace, very aggressive, put a lot of demand on you as an IT? What do you advise?
Crikey, that's a big question. I think one thing that we do, and this almost sounds like a silly thing to say, is actually sometimes stop and just think about where is this going and what we're trying to do. Sometimes you get caught up in the pace of things. You're no longer thinking strategically. You're just reacting to everything that's going on. So the way we have structured some of what we do is, and it was also mentioned, the concept of an innovation lab, innovation areas. So allowing that area to be doing the stuff that is of 2020 and still having some of the team that are delivering the day-to-day needs that those businesses require.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good luck. Thank you. So as we continue to talk about the digital and the divide that it created and how can we build into it, so one of the items it require to build a village and also to get an architect. And then to do that, you have to build an ecosystem. As we work, the team and I with Danata, we have realized that we're building big contact centers to them around the world, in Dubai, in Singapore, in Philippines, and in UK, 2 locations in UK. And when started the journey, and by the time we closed, as I said, we have realized we have to add more partners, more systems. And then internally, it was a challenge. That's a challenge we, as a company, realized that as I partner to serve my customer, I need to bring people that were not used to do that business. It's total dynamic. It's not the natural partner who sign an agreement with Avaya to be a reseller or to be a normal partner. We have to get into other partners that they do their job, I do my job, and move on. And then as we built that ecosystem, we had to partner with Vodafone to provide them MPLS lines around the world so we can connect our contact center and provide service to them. And also, we have to partner with Equinix, not Equinox of Avaya. So this is the most confusing for me, is how I pronounce it every day. So I had to partner with 2 partners, unusual for me. One of them is my customer, and the other is just I have to host our equipment in. To partner with this, it wasn't easy. I had to go internally convince the purchasing in Avaya to do it. I have to go sell internally our services. You have to accept that we need to bring people into the game to make sure we are successful in helping our customer in digital transformation. So I would like to invite Niv from Vodafone to join me on the stage, and Gerald from Equinix. Thanks.
Is this working, or should I? Oh, it's working. Good.
So they give you an advantage. Okay? Can you please see it? Okay? So, ladies first, let me ask you, Niv, the team and I work with you and to provide Danata with the solution. how do you rate that experience? How do you serve company like us and making sure you serve your customer? How you partner, and what goes inside that transaction? What makes it, how can we help people understand what we have been through to serve our customer better?
Sure. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
So I think, if you look back at what you've been speaking about for the last hour here with Emirates NBD, with the World Trade Center City of Dubai, I think there's a lot of common language that we're using now about how we do business. And in terms of supporting our customers and our partners in a digital transformation, that usually starts through a requirement for building efficiency. So that's sort of the starting point, and I like your haves and have mores analogy. I think that's really true as far as digital transformation goes. So first of all, we're looking at how we can help in that first stage around efficiency. That moves from there into looking at how does that actually change how we do business on behalf and how our customers do business on behalf of their customers and their people. So for me, it boils down to how do you add value to the customer's customer, and how do you help your customer on changing their workplace and how people operate. And for us in Vodafone, of course, that is always focused around digitization and being more mobile. So I think in essence, what I would say in terms of how we've worked together with you, it has been about bringing best of breed together. So as you said, you have a core competence, Vodafone has a core competence, as does Equinix, and together we can bring the best to a partner so that they get the optimal solution. And I think what we're seeing in our world, and I know that you've a huge partner community out here today, I think what we see in our business world is becoming much more about how we collaborate together in the marketplace on behalf of our customers. And eventually I think that will bring us to finding new solutions.
What do you think the priority for organization as they embark on their digital transformation journey? What do you think the priority should be?
So we bring together groups of CX level thought leaders across the world, and I was at one of these events that we held in Cape Town very recently, and you get a sense then right across a set of different industries what is on the minds of CX level as they embark on their digital transformation. What comes out of that is two things, and we would normally say in Vodafone it's always customer first, so it's thinking about what is the value to the customer in your transformation, how is it going to change what you deliver, how is it going to be better. I think the other element of that is about your other stakeholders, which are your people, and how are you enabling your people to do that on behalf of the customer, making them more mobile, making them more agile, and typically that means digitizing them and equipping them with the right tools.
So as the customer and as you deal with multiple customers across the world, what do you think that things that is now disruptive to the market?
I think as part of this digital transformation, and we're all on that journey, right? So I think nobody has I guess the final word. This is something we're all undergoing. The digital transformation we can manage ourselves and with partners. The disruption element is an area where we really have to be out in our network, because the disruption, as the name suggests, is going to come from left field, right? You may not see the disruption coming. The way to identify where it may come from is by having this broad collaboration in the marketplace. So I think for me, that is the essence, is to collaborate, to co-create in your partner network. It will prepare you better for where a disruption may come from. If you're highly agile, you'll be ready to react. And if you're really very far along that journey of the have mores, then you can be the disruptor. We've one example, if I might, Nidal, in Vodafone, and it starts with what you might call a failure, where we had a concept for a new product. It was a mobile pay product. It was launched in Europe, so it was a soft launch with a small team to make it work. It didn't fly, and that team was then disbanded. They'd been put together quickly to work on this new product. It didn't fly. They disbanded and went into Vodafone into different roles. But because it had been a very broad team that had been brought together, some of our colleagues from Safaricom in Kenya had been involved in the early stages. And even though it was not launched then in a hard launch in Europe, they believed that they could adopt it. And that became M-Pesa, which is a massive success now. Does anybody know what M-Pesa is? I have a few hands up. So M-Pesa is a mobile pay product. It's launched in Kenya. Over 50% of the GDP of Kenya is now transacted over M-Pesa. It has 25 million users. It's a B2C, it's a consumer-to-consumer product, and all it requires is not a smartphone, but a simple basic phone where you can send and receive money by text message. And this has transformed the economy of Kenya over time. We're now working with the United Nations and the World Food Programme. They're using M-Pesa to get food and critical supplies and medical supplies to poverty-stricken areas of Kenya, to the people who need it. So it's completely transformed their whole distribution channel for food products to the poor. So that's my example, and the reason I bring it up, not only because I love M-Pesa, I think it's a fascinating story, but also because it incorporates failure. And I think if we're going to talk about innovation, we have to talk about being ready to fail, and in the corporate world, that's a very bad word. So if you're going to innovate, you're going to have to experiment, and if you're going to experiment, some things will work and some won't. So one of the advices I would have is for all of us to consider, how do we think some new language up which we can accept, which allows for innovation and allows for people to try out new things, and if they don't work, that's also okay.
Thank you. Jerome, as a partner with you, how did your company help Avaya as an ecosystem partner to help us with the digital transformation disruption that's taking place?
Let me perhaps take the slide from Donata as to support that answer. I think there was 83 countries where their services are available, and I think if we look at today's business, it has gone global, it has gone digital. And as Equinix, we provide a global platform for people to innovate, scale their businesses, and disrupt new markets. And to explain that in detail, I could go back to 1998, where we were founded, and Equinix helped scale the internet. In the early days of the internet, we saw all the global network providers figuring out how do we connect, how do we interconnect our networks so that we can scale this internet. And that's where Equinix started building data centers, and in those data centers, we interconnect those networks. With those networks, we saw the content people coming. They saw our data centers. They saw, if I need to reach somebody on the internet, I'll go to Equinix. That's where my contact houses, and there I distribute my content. And then if we fast forward, over the last 3-5 years, we saw the cloud providers coming and service providers coming in. They brought their nodes to central locations to provide their services. And with the digital transformation that enterprise is now making, we see that enterprise workloads move into those locations, move close to those providers, and in there they build ecosystems and platforms like we saw what you do with Donata, that are easily scalable and replicatable on a global level. And I think that's where we assist you and your customers in the digital transformation and digital disruption of new markets.
What do you advise the audience, as from your company point of view, how to transform, and then how help them transform to the new customer experience, to the new customer or digital journey that they all embark on?
I really like that you started off saying it's not about customer focus, but it's really about customer experience. And if we look to the enterprises that we see successfully grow, not only in one region with us, but in multiple regions in one of our 145 data centers, we see that those companies that are able to bring their business into their supply chain, upwards, downwards, bring it to the regions and to the metros where they conduct business, those companies succeed in having a business where their users, throughout the whole supply chain, have the right access, the right data at the right time. And that is really about customer experience. And what we see companies do is really three very basic things. They flip their IT. We were all used in building IT architectures that are in the basement of our building, and that's where we collect everything. But if we want to interact with our supply chain, if we want to be part of this digital 24-hour economy, then we need to push our applications and we need to push our data to where our people work, where our customers interact, because that's where they need them. And to do that, we need to do a second thing, is we need to rethink the way we build networks. We used to build very hierarchical networks, but we need to push those networks out to where our people today live, to where they do their transactions, where they meet their supply chain. And we need to consider that it's all part of our network, and that's what we need to manage to drive that customer expectation. And the last thing that we then need to do is we need to simplify. So we need to make sure that if there is a specific region with a specific business process, let's keep all data and all applications that those people and that part of the supply chain which you uses, that remains in that area, and that you don't pull data unnecessarily around the globe. Those are the three things we see successful customers of us do, and we see that as the way forward. What we offer them, and together with yourself and together with Vodafone in many, many locations on a global way, is what we call IOA, interconnected orientated architecture. We offer you to go into our ecosystems and find the right partners to, for your customers, find the right mix. So do what you need in that location to deliver the right customer service experience.
Jerome?
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for joining me, and thank you for partnering. Thank you very much. So, we have seen the experience of our customer. Then we talked about the divide. We have to bridge that divide, and to bridge that divide, it's an enterprise-wide. It has to move away from the boardroom. It has to go down to the whole organization. It has to go wide and high. It cannot be only in one place. And then as we progress through the day, we'll talk more about it. As also it has built a platform base, and a platform base that you will see a lot. We're talking about a lot of platform in technology, platform in processes, platform in many things. So the platform base that will innovate, also make things innovated quickly. It has to be inclusive, and it expands the ecosystem, and it has to continue to consult into moving to the future. All of that require simple thing. And I'm not talking about revolution here, when we talk about democracy in our part of the world. We must democratize the digital transformation, which means it has to filter all the way across the organization, across your ecosystem, across all your partners. We believe, and I believe, if we have to be successful in digital transformation, we have to partner together with our users, with our partner, with our employees, with sometimes our competition to deliver to our customer an experience. And it's all about democratizing the digital world. Thank you very much. Enjoy the day.